Hudson. All right. Thank you, Deborah and Laureate. This has been, and I'm seeing a lot of people that I would really, really admire who do incredible things. So, as many of you know, during my tenure as New York State poet, I created many years ago a Walt Whitman vocabulary prompt, and I've been using it as a way of talking about how to create democracy in a poetry workshop context. And it worked out really well. And people from Rochester are here, so they know about that. Yay, Rochester. All right, so I'm gonna start with Walt Whitman. A noiseless patient spider, I marked where on a little promontory it stood isolated, marked how to explore the vacant, vast surrounding. It launched forth filament, filament, filament out of itself, ever unreeling them, ever tirelessly speeding them. I have been revisiting Whitman over the past couple of years because of the many things you can say about him. He was a powerful advocate for democracy, which means he also saw many inadequacies in the democratic process. As June Jordan pointed out, he was, quote, was a white man, unquote, and so his democratic vistas were narrow, but at least he had a democratic vista. Right now, Whitman, if alive, would see just how even blurrier, smaller that vista has become. Thus, this small poem reminding us that sometimes it feels like we are several noiseless patient spiders unreeling ourselves. We fling out the ideas, the spaces, the people in them to make community. We do this with our own nervous energy, our desires, and our perception of what community means. But there are many who hate our efforts. I use the word hate for what it is, an emotional response of pure negativity. They hate our efforts. They hate poetry. They hate fiction, unless they create it. And they hate all who seek to share work with as many people who want to hear and see it. And we now understand clearly just who they are. They find their way onto school boards to ban books from school libraries or, quote, de-woke curriculum. The language is changing, y'all. They target books authored by Black and brown writers, women writers, writers from the LGBTQ plus communities, as basically anyone who's not straight, white, and Protestant. The books could be picture books, YA novels, or your favorites from Toni Morrison or Judy Blume or Kwame Dawes. They could be, quote, classics like The Adventure of Huckleberry Finn or 1984. They have now made it illegal to teach Black history or any history that focuses on the Civil Rights Movement and the many other movements that the CRM catalyzed, from gay rights to women's liberation movement. They are busy destroying the gains of 70 plus years of organizing and martyrdom. They are busy. So, then they come for the library reading series or the workshops or public discussions with local political or cultural leaders, or they look around and see bookstores that have expansive offerings and the readings and discussions connected to them. Then they find a literary series in a church, bar, art gallery that provides authors whose works reflect their own communities, cultures, aesthetics. Or they find a general interest space that programs a variety of programs for a very diverse audience. They come after us. And that is exactly what's going on. We know this. We resist this. We oppose these anti-democratic, these small-minded bigots, these faux outraged parents paid for members of the empire of business, as Mira Rukeyser puts it. I love that phrase. Okay, empire of business. We keep fleeing those filaments, making what will one day be silk. Each of you works for literature in this state. You work for words. You work with others who care deeply, intensely about writers, readers, books, about literacy, about fighting for cultural potency, not cultural erasure. As writers, readers, organizers, we must stay in communication with each other. So thanks to the women, the LitNYS newsletter thing, this is fabulous. Know that whatever we do or say is surveilled, and just figure out what you can or cannot say online, because that's for real. People are literally getting fired for noting that Charlie Kirk was a bigot. Okay, excuse me. Remember, I won't get fired, so I don't. Remember that Democratic Vista is shrinking. We must communicate. Beneath the noise of fascism, we need to learn what the spider knows: patience and fortitude. Yeah, that sounds so 19th century, but we're dealing with people who are using 21st century methods to drive us back to the 19th century, the early 19th century, right? When persons of African descent were enslaved in this state, right? Slavery didn't end in New York State until what, 1820 something, if then. Throughout the mid-Atlantic and all across the South, where upper-class women may be homeschooled, but the rest were left illiterate and without economic agency. There was child labor, child marriages, widespread alcoholism, which led to the temperance movement, where paterollers and slave catchers roamed around the nation. 12 years of a slave started in what? Saratoga Springs, right? Slave catchers. Roamed around this nation as the railroad was just being built. That 19th century. And in that 19th century, abolitionists claimed their voices. The start of women's suffragism, labor union organizing began, and those who opposed the corruption, violence, and degradation that persons daily faced were imprisoned, or in the case of union organizers, killed. Hence, patience and fortitude undergird what is also our rage and active resistance. We are writers, we can handle paradoxes. Deborah told me I should, give it to you. The global internet was built on the metaphor of a spider's web. It has caught all of us in surprising and often harmful ways. We need to reclaim the metaphor and use our, quote, spidey vibes to hold each other, come to each other's rescue, call out those who harm us and our communities. We need our safe words, our safe zones. We are going to have to fashion innovative ways to keep our organizations alive and as healthy as they can be under what we call a dictatorship. The spider may be noiseless, but we should never be. Words whisper and words shout, and right now we need to be able to use that huge sonic range on our behalf. So this is the last thing I'm going to say to you guys today, and I mean it. Our writing centers, literary bookstores, literary series, independent literary organizations that help authors to develop and sustain their craft, local libraries deserve respect and funding. To maximize value in the community. This convening is critical. How you work to improve communication, share resources, advocate for authors, readers, and the larger culture is extremely important, because if not now, there may not be a when. Thank you.